We've done quite a few tier lists on this channel, wouldn't you say? We love tier lists around here. We absolutely love them. And we also love Stranger Things. So let's take the two, put them together, and you get this video. Also, it gives me an easy video to make that's really easy to edit and really easy to put out. Also, it gives me a video to make next year because I'm really exhausted and I need some easy plans to just go right for me because I'm exhausted from a whole year of content creation nonstop, and I know how much you piggies can never get enough of the slop. But yes, we're going to be ranking every single episode of Stranger Things, including the first 4 episodes of season 5. This way, next year, after my holiday break and after the rest of season 5 is out, I can come back and do another video ranking the last five episodes of season 5. It's gonna be good. Also, it gives us a chance to revisit some memories and have one last hurrah before we have to say our final goodbye to this beloved show. Since the icons on the tier list are so small and I can't exactly read them, I have the actual episode list up over on my other monitor so I can actually remember the names, because I don't know all the names of every single episode off the top of my hat. Also, be sure to check out my initial first video on Stranger Things 5 if you haven't already. It's a pretty good video. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. But that's enough chit chat. Let's start ranking these damn episodes because there's a lot of them and I want to get them all done before my freaking dinner gets here. Season 1, Episode 1, The Vanishing of Will Byers. I mean, it's just a classic. It sets up the horror elements. It sets up the sci-fi deep shadow government agency experiments like, what's that experiment called? MK Ultra level experiments. It sets up the whole premise and it introduces us to all of our main characters. And of course introduces us to some of the recurring gags slash concepts in the show, like how our main cast absolutely loves Dungeons and Dragons and how they're gonna be using it as a metaphor for the Upside Down and all the creatures. It's just a classic episode. It gets an A tier, no questions about it. Season 1, Episode 2, The Weirdo on Maple Street. This was Eleven's primary introduction to the show. Our 3 remaining of our main 4 try to question her, try to get her to talk, and she's just very strange because she's never been exposed to the outside world for the most part. Grew up in a lab doing whatever Papa told her, so when they tell her to do something, she takes it literally. And of course, Joyce is freaking out about Will's disappearance, and Hopper's like, it's probably fine. 9 times out of 10, he's with the other parent. And then Joyce is like, well, what about the other 1 time? Honestly, that whole interaction and Joyce saying that, I feel like that is the perfect, like over-encompassing like blanket statement slash metaphor that can describe all of Stranger Things. It is that 1 out of the 10 times. Like, it is not the 9 out of 10 that it is everywhere else in the world. No. Hawkins is that extra 1 out of 10. This is another good episode. I don't think it quite holds a candle to the first episode of season 1, so I'm gonna put it in B tier, but still good episode. Season 1, Episode 3, Holly Jolly. Nancy, of course, is becoming increasingly concerned about Barb's disappearance, and this is also where Joyce starts thinking that Will is trying to talk to Joyce through the lights. Man, those lights, man. Every time I think of Stranger Things, that is the thing I think of, is Will talking through those lights. Like, that was such a memorable scene and moment. We also learn a little bit about Eleven's backstory and what she can do and stuff like that. And genuinely, I just think it's a really good episode. Honestly, I'm gonna give this one an S tier. I think this is our first S tier. Episode 4, The Body. I'm pretty sure this is the episode, I don't remember if it was at the very end of the episode or the very start of the episode where they find Will's body, or like if the aftermath happens in this episode or if it happens in the next one. I'm pretty sure the aftermath is actually in this episode. Yeah, because this is the episode where Joyce is like refusing to accept that Will is dead because she thinks he's communicating to him through the lights and all that stuff. And Jonathan is like, Mom, you gotta accept it. We gotta move on and stuff like that. And that's right, Nancy and Jonathan finally form an alliance in this episode. And it's where Nancy reveals her very impressive marksman skills. Yeah, this is a good episode. This is 100% an A tier. Also, 11 gets the Goofy Ob makeover. I just remember that one after after seeing the little photo here. I'll put this one in A tier, but I think Vanishing of Will Byers, episode 1, still stays on top. Episode 5, The Flea and the Acrobat. I really like this episode. Of course, the standout moment of this one is where they sort of kind of learn about the Upside Down and inquire to Mr. Clark about like wormholes and stuff like that. You know, this is a very important episode because it sets up a lot of the premises for the mechanics of the Upside Down, if you will. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the episode where Hopper breaks into the lab and like tries to figure out what the hell is going on in the Department of Energy. It's not actually, it's just Dr. Brenner's little play sandboxing place. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Well, no, this is a pretty good episode. I think I'm gonna give it a B tier. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. Season 1, episode 6, The Monster. Oh, that's right. Nancy found her way into the Upside Down on accident in the previous episode, and then Jonathan's trying to find her, and they can kind of hear each other, but kind of can't, because, you know, interdimensional parallel world stuff, kind of all weird and freaky and finicky. And I'm pretty sure this is the episode where Jonathan fights Steve, because Steve saw Jonathan and Nancy sharing a bed together because they both went through one of the most traumatic experiences of their lives thus far together. Also, who the hell would want to be alone after an encounter like that? No, this is a really good episode. I'm gonna give this one an A tier as well, but no, I still think season 1, episode 1 stays at the top of A tier for now. Season 1, episode 7, The Bathtub, gearing up for the finale of the season. At this point, basically everyone in the main cast is on the same page, you know, Joyce, Hopper, the kids, Nancy, Jonathan, all of them. And they gotta do the whole giant salt bathtub thing, so, Eleven can find Will in the Upside Down. Also, Nancy and Mike have a really good, like, emotional bonding moment as siblings, and they also they come to the agreement, yeah, no more secrets between us. And then Mike is like, are you dating Steve? And she's like, no. Now that is how you write siblings. Yeah, this is a really good episode. I don't think it quite gets an S tier, but it definitely isn't as low enough for a B tier. I think I'll put it right here in A tier. That feels like the best put for it. And of course, the season 1 finale, season 1, episode 8, The Upside Down. First of all, before we talk about it, definitely an S tier episode. You know, I'm gonna put it at the top of the S tier. I think it's the best episode in the season. Everything that's been set up throughout the entire season just all came together in such a nice, big, full circle. Brenner gets what he deserves, even though he's not really dead yet. They find Will, he's just alive as Hopper tries to revive him. He has flashbacks to his daughter, and it's probably so many other situations in his life where he's lost someone. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful bow to tie off the season with. Honestly, I remember my first experience watching Stranger Things, and I was very unsure about it. Everybody I knew at the time was like, it is the best show I've ever seen. It is so good. You will absolutely love it. And I watched all 7 episodes up until the finale, and I was like, it's a good show, but I'm still not getting all the hype yet, you know? I wasn't getting that love yet. I wasn't making that deep emotional connection yet. But this episode, the finale of season 1, this is what did it, because A, it showed me that the Duffer Brothers had a deep understanding of how to write emotionally intense characters, and it showed that they were very, very good with their ability to create long storylines that all wrapped up and encircled and converged at the very end to make a super satisfying conclusion. This is what hooked me into Stranger Things. This episode. This is what did it. And I'm so glad I watched season 1 when I did, because it was about a week before season 2 came out. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'll give it a try, and if it's good, I'll watch the second season. Man, am I glad I decided to spend, I think it was actually the day before Halloween I watched it. Man, that's such a long time ago. Doesn't feel like it though, does it? Moving on to season 2, one of my absolute favorite seasons in the whole show. For me, seasons 2 and 4 are kind of tied for first place for favorite season. They're both so good and so transformative for the show, and set up so many things, ask so many questions, answer quite a few questions, and have so many great character moments that I can't really choose between the two of them as to which is my favorite. But now the season 5's out, I'm loving it like at the same level as I'm liking those 2 seasons, and now I'm like, there's no way I'm ever gonna be able to pick a favorite. Anyways, starting off with season 2, episode 1, Mad Max. I don't think that this opening episode is quite as strong as season 1, but I think Max's character, like her opening character and her introduction and showing us like small bits and pieces of her life, I think they introduced her to the show in a very strong way. It's just everything else that was a little like, I mean, it was a good episode, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you just can't beat the season 1 opening when it comes to opening episodes. I'll still give it an A tier because it's a great episode. And yeah, I'll bump it up one in A tier. Yeah, that feels like a good spot for it. Season 2, episode 2, Trick or Treat Freak. After Will started having all his visions in the previous episode, and I think he did get a glimpse of the Mind Flayer in the previous episode, but now it's getting real serious. Not only do we get a lot of hilariously embarrassing moments for our main cast, as no one else dresses up for Halloween except for them. Awesome moment, and I still have no idea how they did it exactly to the letter when it comes to the technical details, but that scene where Joyce goes back on the recording of Will's trick-or-treating venture. God, I am struggling. I've been working real hard the past couple days to try and get everything wrapped up for the year, so you'll have to excuse me. But when Joyce was going back through the tape of Will's venture on Halloween night, and there was that small, like, weird glitch in the corner of the screen, she paused it, and she drew it out, like sketched it out with some parchment and the crayon, and then it revealed the shape of the Mind Flayer, which is the same thing that Will drew. Oh my God, that was a great moment. Also, the music that went with it, very good. The music in season 2 in general is just like, I mean, the music in season 1 was great, but I feel like season 2 was just like such a step up, and it felt so much more intense. Yeah, this is a good episode. I'm gonna give this one, honestly, I'm gonna give this one a low S tier because there's also there's a lot of great character moments and sort of seeing the integration of Mad Max into the main group and tensions arising as a result of that. It's a good episode. It's a really good episode. Also, I'm pretty sure at the end of this episode is when we learn that Eleven is still alive. I'm pretty sure. Season 2, episode 3, the Pollywog. The Dart arc. I love Dart. To this day, I still think to myself, Dart was a hero. And I feel like Dart might end up being relevant in the final season in the sense of like, oh yeah, these creatures might be all part of a hive mind, but it's clear that they have some degree of autonomy. Or it's possible that Dart just wasn't connected to the hive mind when he was small or something, or maybe it doesn't activate till you're older or something. I don't know. But I feel like Dart's bond with Dustin will become relevant at some point. As for the episode itself, pretty good episode. You know, I don't really have any major complaints about it. And this is where the main team sort of starts to divide a little bit, where on one end you have Lucas, Max, and Dustin, and on the other end you have Mike and Will. And it's a good setup episode. And I'll go ahead and give it a B tier. I'll give it a high B tier because it's a good episode. I'll put it, yeah, right there. That's a good place to put it. Season 2, episode 4, Will the Wise. This is it's at the end of the last episode, at the start of this episode where Will gets possessed by the Mind Flayer. And oh my God, I love the effect of the Mind Flayer. Like this, you know, how he looks and how the effects look of him. I was utterly baffled when they revealed him. Like, he was a game changer. And this is where Will becomes possessed and even more deeply connected to the hive mind. And it's where he starts kind of acting funny. And I think this might be the episode where he draws the vines. It's either this episode or the next episode, one or the other. But no, this is a good episode. I'm definitely gonna give this one an A tier. I'll put it right here, right, that's a good spot. Season 2, episode 5, Dig Dug. The vines are definitely, like, the vine drawings are definitely a part of this one, because, oh yeah, no, this is the one where he drew them, because Hopper came and saw them and was like, oh, they're vines, and then he starts digging and finds the tunnels. Poor Hopper gets trapped down there, poor bastard, he's been through enough. Oh, that's right, and this is the end of the episode where it's like, kind of like more so confirmed of how deep Will is connected to the hive mind, because that one soldier finds them at the end and they start burning everything, and then Will just has a complete and total seizure. And man, the noises they produced in the sound system or the sound booth and in the post-editing and post-processing of everything to make Will's screeches just seem completely alien and horrifying. God, it was top notch, like genuinely freaky moment. I think this episode might be another S tier, quite frankly. I don't think it's as high as anything else, but I think it's an S tier. It's a freaking great episode. Season 2, episode 6, The Spy. Once again, we find ourselves at Hawkins' lab. Oh, and speaking of Hawkins' lab, I just remembered just now, fun fact about the filming location for Hawkins' lab. The filming location is just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and I think it was a university, maybe still is, I'm not entirely sure. But the filming, that actual site they used for Hawkins' lab, was also used in Constantine in 2014. It was either episode 2, 3, or 5, or 4. Oh, I think it was episode 4, The Devil's Vinyl. Yeah, it was that episode of Constantine where they also went and filmed there. And when I saw that, I was like, that location is so familiar. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's Hawkins' lab. So yeah, that's a fun fact for you. Also, my Constantine viewers out there in the audience, rise up. But yes, chapter 6, The Spy. Back at Hawkins' lab, poor Bob finally learns about everything that's going on, and suddenly his idea of moving to Maine doesn't seem so crazy. Also, Will is unfortunately being puppeteered by the Mind Flayer and leads all those soldiers into a trap, and then the lab comes under attack, and everything goes to crap in this episode. This is the episode where everything goes to crap, but this is also the episode where Dustin and Steve kind of become friends and start forming their bond, so good stuff. This episode alone gets an A tier just for the Dustin and Steve moments. So I'll give it a high A. You know, I'm gonna give it a really high A because this is a great episode. Season 2, episode 7, The Lost Sister. Initially, what I thought was completely pointless, and that, like, what was the point of this aside from Eleven learning some kind of moral lesson and getting like a tiny bit of training? But as it turns out, and as I forgot to talk about in my actual dedicated video about Stranger Things season 5, in the lab in the Upside Down that they have built, that the military has constructed on the flip side of Hawkins, turns out they have 8 in prison there, in captivity, studying her, hooked up to this big machine with this like discs that like cancel out her powers or something. I think the military still believes that they're the ones doing all this, and they're the ones creating these monsters and stuff like that. So yeah, big dumb on my part for not talking about that, so we'll talk about it later. This episode's fine, I guess. It's not a bad episode, it's just not very memorable, quite frankly. Like, this is the last episode of Stranger Things I would think of if you asked me to name them all out in order. I forget it exists sometimes, and as a result, I'm gonna give it I'm giving this a D tier. I'm gonna give this one a D tier. Season 2, episode 8, The Mind Flayer. Poor Bob, man. He deserved so much better. Another thing I think of when it comes to this episode is there's this one moment when they're all at, I'm pretty sure it's the Byers house. Yeah, it's the Byers house. And they're trying to figure out what to do about Will, and they realize that Will is communicating through Morse code, and then they write it down, and Steve's like, what's that? And then literally like 8 other people in the room say Morse code, and because everybody else knows what it is. I love those moments where Steve knows nothing that everyone else does, and it's always a kicker. It's always a knee slapper. And this is the episode where Eleven comes back, all kitted out in her MTV punk rock outfit. And we learn that Bob was actually the founder of Hawkins AV, and he taught Mr. Clark everything there is to know about all the radio tech and whatnot. And that is just so cool. Fucking, can I get an F in the chat for Bob? Yeah, this is a good episode. I'll give this one an A tier. I'll put it right here. Yeah, that's a good spot. No, yeah, right there. That's a good spot. And season 2, episode 9, our season 2 finale, The Gate. Just total, absolute cinema banger of a finale. Eleven gets a Super Saiyan moment and closes the giant gate. Will gets the black mist of the Mind Flayer out of him. All sorts of good stuff. Also, I'm pretty sure it's the previous episode where Steve and Nancy sort of reconcile and are like, yeah, things aren't really working between us, but that doesn't mean we have to hate each other or avoid each other. A lot of growing up in the previous episode and in this episode. And of course, we get that amazing, memorable, unforgettable shot at the very end where we see everybody having a good time at the dance, and the camera goes outside, and it flips to the Upside Down, and the Mind Flayer's over top of everything with lightning just blaring in the background. That was such a cliffhanger. I loved it. Yeah, I think this finale gets an S tier. I think I'll put it right up there with the season 1 finale, quite frankly, because the finales are just so good. All right, moving on to season 3. We're probably going to be seeing some C tiers and D tiers in this one. Most likely, I don't know. Season 3, episode 1, Susie, do you copy? Man, the introduction of Susie as a character, she's hilarious, and she's a great character, great side and supporting member. Other than that, though, this episode's like, okay. It does set up the premise for everything that's gonna happen this season, like our interpersonal relationships with the characters, and our locations and settings, and the Russians. It's fine. You know, this episode's all right. I'll give it a low B, because I don't want to be too harsh. Season 3, episode 2, The Mall Rats. Billy starts having some troubling visions, and this is also the episode where Max and Eleven go shopping and kind of separate from the boys for a bit. You know, we get a little bit of interpersonal conflict this episode, and I think this is the episode where Dustin picks up the supposed Russian transmission, I think. I think he might have picked it up in the prior episode, and this is where he starts trying to decode it, because nobody speaks Russian. Actually, there is one very good, 100% positive thing about this season, and that is the introduction of Robin. We love Robin. Robin's a great character. She's goofy-ass, she's got some extremely genuine and sentimental moments. We like Robin. Also, I'm pretty sure there's the episode where Nancy and Jonathan go, find Mrs. Triscoll, I think her name was, the crazy old lady who was being possessed by the hive but didn't know it, and she was like eating all that fertilizer and stuff. Yeah, this episode's all right. I'll put it above the first step. Yeah, I'll put this one above the first episode of season 3. Season 3, episode 3, The Case of the Missing Lifeguard. Oh yeah, that's right. I think Billy kidnaps that lifeguard in the prior episode, like towards the end, or towards the start of the beginning of this one. Because I think it was in the prior episode when Max and Eleven were playing Spin the Bottle, and Eleven had a vision of Billy and what was like kind of might be going on with him. And that's right, they saw the lifeguard he kidnapped screaming and begging for help. This episode's a little bit better than the other two, I think, quite frankly. I think this is definitely one of the slightly stronger episodes in season 3, and as such, I'll put it above the other ones, but I don't think any sole episode in season 3 on its own beats any of the other episodes in season 1 and 2. Not that the episodes are bad, it's just they're not at the same standard as the other ones, in my opinion anyway. For me, season 3 is the weakest and the one I enjoyed the least. I still enjoyed it, just not nearly as much as the other 3. Moving on to season 3, episode 4, I'd say this is one of the stronger episodes. We have the sauna test. The gang gets a hunch that Billy might be infected by the hive mind, so they lock him in a sauna to try and see what happens. And it almost costs a few of them their lives, but they do confirm that Billy is most likely infected. Yeah, I think this is one of the stronger ones. I'll put it above the other two. I think that's the best spot for it, quite frankly. Most of season 3 is probably gonna end up in B or C tier. Season 3, episode 5, The Flayed. This is where our Scoop Troop gang finally infiltrates the Russian base below the Starcourt Mall that was paid for, or more so, the land was given to the shady company and then turned out to be the Russians. God, it's just one of the craziest plot points in the entire series. And you can't forget about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle goo. Oh yeah, and this is the season where Erica gets more involved and she sort of helps out. I'm also a big fan of Erica as a character, more so for entertainment and comedic value, but you shouldn't let that take away from her intelligence, because she is like a genuinely smart character. And when you have a genuinely smart character, you know you have smart writers, because characters can only be as smart as the writers. I'm gonna put The Flayed actually quite high. I'd say this is one of the stronger episodes of season 3. I'll put it here, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and move Mallrats down to C tier. Yeah, that feels good. Season 3, episode 6, E Pluribus Unum. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This is the Alexei episode. Alexei is precious, and it's a shame he was taken from us, but he was Russian. He was one of the Soviet scientists working on the machine to open a gate to the Upside Down, because how could that ever go wrong? This episode's fine. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the top of C tier. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. I really don't have too much to say about season 3. It's just kind of like, yeah, it happened, and there's a couple good things that I liked, but that's about it. Season 3, episode 7, The Bite. This is where Eleven gets bit and her powers become null and void for a time. Also, the Mind Flayer's new weapon, the giant flesh version of itself, very terrifying, creepy, and gross stuff. If there's one thing Stranger Things always nails, it's the monster design. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the episode, it might have been the previous episode, but it could have been this one where Hopper fights the Russian assassin in the funhouse. I think it might have been the prior episode, but it also could be this one. The gang gears up for war. Murray puts his ability to speak Russian to good use. God, I haven't talked enough about Murray as much as I should have. I freaking love Murray. He is just the most clutch character in the entire show. In season 2, he helps Nancy and Jonathan figure out a way to bring down an entire government lab. Season 3, his ability to speak Russian and English and sound like the most American person ever is what keeps them alive in the Russian bunker when A, the Russians would kill them, and B, when the friggin' cavalry shows up and he's like, we're Americans. But yeah, the bite. I'm sorry, I got so sidetracked there. The Bite's one of the better episodes of season 3. I'll actually go ahead and put it at the top of my season 3 ratings. Yeah, and no, I'll leave everything where it is. I'm pretty comfortable with where everything is. And season 3, episode 8, The Battle of Starcourt, season finale. This was actually like a pretty good finale, like compared to the rest of the season. I mean, again, the season wasn't bad. It just felt a little bit weak compared to the other two. Great emotional moments with Billy, Billy's redemption, and like Billy's redemption is what makes this finale. Let's just be honest with ourselves. And that ending sequence where Joyce, Will, and Eleven move away. God, that closing montage where Hopper left the note and Eleven read it. God, that was top tier stuff. Absolute top tier, tear-jerking stuff. I cried when I first watched this episode. Yeah, this was a genuinely good finale. I think it genuinely deserves like an A tier. I'll go ahead and put it like right here. Yeah, I'll put it right there. It's a good finale. Not as good as the other ones in my opinion, but it's still a good finale and a good episode. We're moving on to season 4, baby. Woo! Season 4, episode 1, The Hellfire Club. God damn, I've not thought about this episode in a while. Eddie Munson was such an amazing addition to this series. I adore his unapologetic attitude and just not giving a crap about what anyone else thinks. And he has so many good quotes. I love Eddie, I love him. Also, the montage in this episode where we see the D&D campaign happening parallel to Lucas's basketball game was very good. I quite enjoyed the way all the shots and the cinematography and how everything was framed to line up with each other. Just a very strong opening episode. And of course, the finale where Chrissy gets gamered by Vecna. When I saw how she died, I was like, holy mother of Joseph, who is doing this and how? Yeah, this is a good episode. Honestly, this episode's an S tier. This is an S tier episode. I'm just being 100% honest. And I'm gonna move it up a little bit. I think I enjoy this episode a little bit more than Dig Dug. And I really like Dig Dug as an episode. Like, it is one of my favorites in the whole show. Season 4, episode 2, Vecna's Curse. The hunt is on for Eddie Munson. Town's going crazy. Everybody's wondering what the hell Hellfire is. And everybody in our main gang is like trying to find Eddie so they can figure out what happened. And they do find Eddie at the very end, and Steve gets him with his oar. Also, since Eddie's always been in like a leading position at the head of Hellfire and always listening to Dustin just waffle on about stuff and science and Steve, having Eddie be the one, we're in a position where he needs a leader and he needs someone to tell him what's up, and Dustin being in that position, it was just such a great moment for their two characters. Not to mention the montage of Vecna's curse and it affecting people and whatnot as things happen with I don't remember the name of the reporter Nancy was with, but he got gamered by Vecna, and Max is going over the files in the school as they break in, and she's realizing, oh crap, I'm cursed. Just a great episode. Vecna's Curse is a top tier episode. Honestly, Vecna's Curse, I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it right there in A tier. I think that's where it belongs. Season 4, episode 3, The Monster and the Superhero. Oh, right, this is where Murray was in season 4. I completely forgot. There's so many plot lines. I completely forgot that Murray went to Russia in this season with Joyce. Again, Murray, super clutch character, knowing how to get the info from the Russians and help Joyce with the doll and all that. And the Americans are very tricky. God, that's such a good moment. Oh yeah, and this is the episode where Robin and Nancy got acquainted. They were, going through the library and trying to figure out stuff about whoever this killer is when they were happening and stuff like that. Yeah, this is a good episode. This is a good one. I'll put it in A tier. It's not nearly as high as Vecna's Curse, but I'll put it right here. Yeah, that seems like a good spot. Season 4, episode 4, Dear Billy. This was a tear-jerking one. It really was. And it set up some mechanics that became relevant in future episodes, both in this season and season 5. The whole music thing, Lucas and Max reconciling and just reaffirming that they are friends and, they don't have to stay distant from each other. It's just such a great, this is a Max episode. This is like Max's episode, full stop. Again, an A tier without question. I'll put it right here. Season 4, episode 5, The Nina Project. This is where Doc Owen shows Eleven around the lab in the old unused missile silo, and Nina, the big tank. And this is where it's revealed that Dr. Brenner is in fact still alive and not in jail. Bastard just won't stay dead. I swear to God, he's still not dead. He's gonna just wake up from that bullet he took and just be like, time to go torture my kids some more. He's like William Afton. He always comes back to torture and kill kids. Oh, and this is the episode where they go to Vecna's house, the big mansion with the rose door. And we get quite a few good Steve and Dustin moments in this one, where Dustin is kind of a little bit more adult than Steve is, and you gotta love it. Yeah, Nina Project, good episode. I just gonna put it right here. There we go. That's where I'm putting it. Season 4, episode 6, The Dive. This is where we get insight into what the Nina Project is, how it works, and the situation that Eleven finds herself in to reawaken her lost abilities. Also, Murray and Joyce have thus crashed in Russia. They have crashed in Soviet Russia at the height of the Cold War. Great idea, guys. Oh, and I think this is the episode where the California crew, if you will, the Cali crew, Will, Mike, Jonathan, and Argyle. God, I love Argyle. He's so funny. I think this is the episode where they go to and find Susie and get her help. And we get a look at what Susie's life is like, and it is completely chaotic. She seems to be about the only organized one in the entire house. Yeah, The Dive, pretty good episode. I think I'm gonna give it a high B tier. I think I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier right here, because I think I like everything else in A tier just a little bit more. Season 4, Episode 7, The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab. This is where Henry's true nature is revealed. It is revealed that he is Vecna, and the first of Brenner's victims. I'm pretty sure that season 4 was split into 2 parts, I think. And I think episode 7 or 6 or somewhere around here is when the episodes got split, and then you had to wait a bit for the other ones to come out. Because I distinctly remember the reveal that Henry was one and Vecna, and then there not being any more episodes after that, because I was on vacation at the time, and I'm pretty sure this is where the cutoff was. No, this is a good episode with a great cliffhanger in the middle of the season. You gotta love those middle of the season cliffhangers that just get you thinking, what the hell's gonna happen next? I'm gonna put this one right above the Battle of Starcourt. I think that's the best place for it. Actually, I'm gonna put it a little higher. I'm gonna put it right there. There we go. That's a good spot. Season 4, Episode 8. Papa. Mike and the Cali gang finally figure out where Eleven is, and she's gotten her powers back. She takes down a helicopter, James Bond, Michael Bay style, and Papa gets shot and is finally dead. Oh, and this is where Nancy gets shown a bunch of visions by Vecna. Oh, that's right, and this is also the episode where they steal the RV and go to the war zone to buy a bunch of weapons. God, I love capitalism. Yeah, this is our setup episode for the finale. Definitely an A tier, but yeah, I'll put it right above. I'll put this one above Battle of Starcourt. I think that's the best spot for it. And our finale, Season 4, Episode 9, The Piggyback. We get a bunch of great character moments in this finale, and some of my favorite come from Mike and Will, Eleven and Mike, and Will and Jonathan. Like when Eleven was really in the heat of battle and Will was like, essentially saying, use your hero heart, Mike, lead. And I gave Eleven the strength to just barely save Max. Also that goddamn prick, what was his name? That stupid sports guy. What was his name? The kid Lucas looked up to. I don't even remember his name, he's so forgettable. But he was such a douchebag. Like, I dealt with people like him in my educational days. Maybe not to the extreme of, yeah, let's kill these people who are in a club because they are very vaguely connected to a murder. No, not like that crazy, but that level of douchiness for sure. And I was so glad when that gate ripped him in half, because I fucking despised him as a character. Like, two-dimensional antagonists like that just really grind my gears, especially when they're relatable. Relatable in the sense of, I relate to having to deal with these type of people. Now, this is a top tier finale, S tier, no question about it. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it right here. And now moving on to season 5, the first 4 episodes that we have available. Season 5, episode 1, The Crawl. We pick up some time after Vecna has opened the gates. The military has put Hawkins on full-on quarantine. They placed metal plating over the gates, because, yeah, that's gonna do anything. A lot of people are staying at the Wheeler's house, because a bunch of other houses got completely annihilated. And we get a peek into what lives are like, and we see Robin's job at the station along with Steve sending encrypted messages to the gang wherever they are. Freaking, I love that so much. That's just one of my favorite things they did with that episode. Oh my god, Dustin doing his best to try and honor Eddie and defend him and defend Hellfire and keep the spirit and what it represented alive, and him kind of paying the price for it. I just hope those sports guys get ripped up by some monsters, because man, I will feel very vindicated if that happens. And of course, Hopper crawls into the back of a military van to go survey the Upside Down, and then, as you might have guessed, everything went wrong. Very strong opening episode. We got that, as you can see in the little art down here, we got that moment where our main 4 are all together and they put their hands together saying, let's do this thing. God, it feels so great to see our main 4 back together, looking out for each other, having each other's backs, planning crap out together, and not being afraid of nothing. Just top tier opening episode. This is an S tier for sure. I'm gonna put it right there. Yeah, that's a good spot. Season 5, episode 2, The Vanishing of Holly Wheeler. And God, I will never stop loving that callback of a title. Some of Nancy's visions that Vecna showed her start to come true. Her family suffering, people dying, things burning, and of course, children being taken. Will steps up in this episode. He really starts to step up and be like, you know what? I can't let my mom protect me and cradle me when I can help save these people, especially people like Holly who are in the Upside Down, who have no idea what's going on, just like I was. This episode's an honest to God another S tier. I think I actually like it a little bit more than the opening episode, quite frankly. Season 5, episode 3, The Turnbow Trap. Another just complete winner, let's just be honest. First of all, the title just rolls off the tongue. Second of all, we get some funny ass Home Alone strategies for dealing with a Demogorgon and placing a tracker inside of it. Third, poor Will gets connected to the hive mind again and has, again, a bit of a freak out. And I knew something I didn't mention in my prior Stranger Things 5 video. I knew that when that Demogorgon came through the barn door and was gonna start taking a swing at Joyce as she was swinging that axe around, I knew as it wasn't reacting or doing anything, I was like, that's Will doing that. Will is keeping it from attacking and making it back up and being afraid. If there was ever a reason for Will to even ever so slightly take control of some of the hive mind strings, it would be to protect his mother. Another absolute winner. I mean, I don't really know what else I'm supposed to say. The season 5 episodes are just some of the best. And last but certainly not least, nor is it our finale, season 5, episode 4. Sorcerer. Currently the last available episode in the series. The next 3 episodes are coming out in 21 days at the time of recording. Vecna shows up, he causes havoc, and that commander military dude burns to death? Question mark? There wasn't a whole lot of fire on his body, which makes me think he might have survived, but I'm kind of hoping he's dead because he did try and hunt 11 to like unbelievable extinction. Like he wanted her dead. So I'm kind of hoping he gets what he deserves for not realizing who the real monster is. We get the reveal that 8 is still alive. Will becomes a sorcerer and takes control of some of the hive mind. And it's just one of the most insane cliffhangers. It feels like the cliffhanger of a finale. It feels like a finale level cliffhanger. And I guess they kind of did that on purpose since they're splitting the seasons. It's just, I gotta put it up there with the other season finales. I'll put it right here. No, I'll put it above The Gate. No, I don't know. It's on par with The Gate as like my second favorite episode, I'll say. Each one of these episodes on this tier list has so many details to them, and none of them are bad. There isn't really any like genuinely terrible episodes of Stranger Things. There's weak episodes and less like high standard episodes compared to the rest of the season, but none of them are bad. But there you have it, my friends. Every single current episode of Stranger Things ranked on a tier list of S to D. Of course, when the remaining episodes come out and my holiday break has ended, I will come back and update this tier list to include the remaining season 5 episodes. And please let me know down in the comments, what are some of your favorite episodes of Stranger Things? And what are some of your favorite just random moments? You know, maybe there's a random ass moment in an episode that you don't exactly remember, and it's like, oh, that was really funny, or that was a great character moment, or that made me cry my eyes out. Please get some discussions going in the comments. I would absolutely love to see them. And of course, if you enjoyed watching this video and look forward to more Stranger Things content from me, definitely be sure to hit the like and sub button. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you really like the way we do things around here and you really like the way I commentate, be sure to consider checking out the channel memberships. By becoming a member, not only do you get access to a whole bunch of exclusive rewards, but you also directly support me in the process and help keep this channel running. But that is going to do it for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, have a good day, everyone.